The scene amidst which Clayton told his last story comes back very vividly to my mind. There he sat, for the greater part of the time, in the corner of the authentic settle by the spacious open fire, and Sanderson sat beside him smoking the Broseley clay that bore his name. There was Evans, and that marvel among actors, Eleanor, who is also a modest woman. We had all come down to the Mermaid Club that Saturday morning, except Clayton, who had slept there overnight, which indeed gave him the opening of his story. We had golfed until golfing was invisible. We had dined, and we were in that mood of tranquil kindliness when men will suffer a story. When Clayton began to tell one, we naturally supposed he was lying. It may be that indeed he was lying, of that the reader will speedily be able to judge as well as I, Andrew. He began, it is true, with an air of matter-of-fact anecdotes, but that we thought was only the incurable artifice of the man.
I say,
he remarked, after a long consideration of the upward rain of sparks from the log that Sanderson had thumped.
You know I was alone here last night.
Except for the domestics,
said Eleanor.
Who sleep in the other wing. Yes, well.
He pulled at his cigar for some time, as though he still hesitated about his confidence. Then he said, quite quietly,
I caught a ghost.
Caught a ghost, did you? Where is it?
said Anderson. And Evan.
Caught a ghost, did you, Clayton? I'm glad of it. Tell us all about it right now.
Clayton said he would in a minute, and asked him to shut the door. He looked apologetically at me.
There's no eavesdropping, of course. We don't want to upset our very excellent service with any rumours of ghosts in the place. There's too much shadow and oak panelling to trifle with that. And this, you know, wasn't a regular ghost. I don't think it will come again, ever.
You mean to say you didn't keep it?
I hadn't the heart to. I know, but the fact is, it really was a ghost. I'm as sure of it as I am now talking to you. I'm not joking, I mean what I say.
Sanderson drew deeply at his pipe, with one reddish eye on Clayton, and then emitted a thin jet of smoke more eloquent than many words. Clayton ignored the comment.
It is the strangest thing that has ever happened in my life. You know, I never believed in ghosts or anything of the sort before, ever. And then, you know, I bag one in a corner, and the whole business is in my hands.
He meditated still more profoundly, and produced and began to pierce a second cigar with a curious little stabber he affected.
Chatty?
I said, joining the party of skeptics.
You talked to it?
For the space, probably of an hour. The poor devil was in trouble.
Swabbing?
Good lord, yes. Poor fellow, yes.
Where did you strike it?
I never realised. The poor sort of thing a ghost might be. I took an advantage. A character remains just the same character, for that it's been disembodied. That's the thing we too often forget. People with a certain strength of fixity of purpose may have ghosts of a certain strength and fixity of purpose.
He punctuated with the help of his cigar.
Most haunting ghosts, you know, must be as one-idead as monomaniacs, and as obstinate as mules to come back again and again. This poor creature wasn't. I say it in all kindliness, but that is the plain truth of the case. Even at the first glance, he struck me as weak. I came upon him, you know, in the long passage. His back was towards me, and I saw him first. Right off, I knew him for a ghost. He was transparent and whitish. Clean through his chest I could see the glimmer of the little window at the end. And not only was his physique, but his attitude struck me as being weak too. He looked, you know, as though he didn't know in the slightest whatever he meant to do. One hand was on the panelling and the other fluttered to his mouth, like so.
What sort of physique?
Lean. You know that sort of a young man's neck that has two great flutings down the back. Here and here, so. And a little meanish head with scrubby hair. And rather bad ears. Shoulders bad, narrower than the hips, and turned down collar. Ready-made short jacket, trousers baggy, and a little frayed at the heels. And that's how he took me. I came very quietly up the staircase. I did not carry a light, you know. The candles are on the landing table, and there is that lamp. And I was in my list slippers, but I saw him as I came up. I stopped dead at that, taking him in. I wasn't a bit afraid. I think that in most of these affairs, one is never nearly so afraid or excited as one imagines one would be. I was surprised and interested. I thought, good lord, Here's a ghost at last. And I haven't believed for a moment in ghosts during the last 5 and 20 years. I suppose I wasn't on the landing a moment before he found out I was there. He turned on me sharply, and I saw the face of an immature young man, a weak nose, and a scrubby little mustache, a feeble chin,